Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for episode number 2 of my Taskmaster FC save. When you were last with us, we had an opportunity to take on Beaconsfield Town, still working on my English place names, and Hendon, and won both of them convincingly since you were last with us. We've been quite successful both in the league and in the first couple of qualifying rounds of the FA Cup. So as you see here, after that win against Hendon, we went to Basingstoke Town and won 2-1. Pretty good victory there, and then afterwards another 2-0 victory in the first round of the FA Cup, the very first qualifying round. We don't get to the first round proper until I believe we finish 4 qualifying rounds. Is that right? That sound right? It's probably right. And then immediately went into the second qualifying round and went away to Bishop Stortford and ended up picking up a 2-1 win there. Then against Hayes and Chesham United, we ended up with a 2-0 victory. 3-0 victory over Shoaling, and then our very first drop of points in the season against Harrow with a 0-0 draw. Interestingly enough, we actually play them again in the FA Cup third qualifying round. So lots of really good football going on at the moment. Pretty excited to continue on with the FA Cup here. Today we will be focusing on Harrow, and we'll also play away against Swindon Supermarine. If you actually go through and take a look at some of our statistics here, Roisin Connity's leading the team with 5 goals. Sophie Duker with the highest average rating of a 7.55. Very good attacking midfielder here that I ended up purchasing kind of on a whim towards the end of the transfer window, towards the end of the summer prior to the start of the save. Got Frank Skinner here on the most yellow cards. We also actually have, I believe, the most clean sheets in the league in terms of the... Where do I find this information? You know what? Not a big deal. I'm confident we have the most clean sheets because we've actually only allowed 1 goal all season. So pretty pleased with that so far. Unfortunately, we're only 4th in the table here. We've got Merthyr Town ahead of us, along with Salisbury and Walton and Hersham. What makes me a little bit nervous about this is that there is just 1 spot that ends up getting automatically promoted to the National League South. These 4 teams here are going to have to fight it out in the playoffs in order to make it. So it's very important that we just continue our good run of form. I don't like the fact that we're dropping points so early, but this is a very, very good sign that we have put together a very, very good team. In terms of any transfers coming in or out, I am trying to bring in another midfielder. Our midfield is just a little bit weak. I don't really have any substitutions that are on the bench. So when my current midfielders get tired, Frank Skinner, Jordan Edwards, I really don't have anybody to bring on in order to substitute for them. So I'm trying to bring in another midfielder here. Hopefully that won't pose us too much over the wage budget, just a little smidgen over the wage budget here. But bringing in that central midfielder is going to be very crucial for us to be able to rotate the squad, especially when we start getting into some fixture congestion here a little bit later on in the season. Even right here, we seem to be playing games about every 2 days. That ends up putting a lot of stress on our players, and you really want to make sure that they have an opportunity to rest and be the best that they possibly can. Again, we're going to be taking on Harrow today. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at our starting lineup here. I think these are pretty straightforward here. We'll take out Chris Ramsey. We're going to put back in Tim Key. We're going to leave Lafleur out there on the left side of the defense. And I'm going to take out Joe Brand and put in Joe Thomas. So our starting lineup here, we're going to start with Ramesh Ranganathan back in goal, back 4 of Lafleur, Danielle Walker, Angela Dravid, Tim Key, Frank Skinner, and Edwards controlling the midfield. Attacking midfield, Joe Thomas, Sophie Duker, and Hippolyte Patrick. Love that name, by the way. And then Roisin Conity on strike. So let's see if we can get a victory here today and continue our journey through the FA Cup. And hopefully, after a couple more wins, make it to the first round proper. This is a match we should be winning, so let's do it. Interestingly enough, we actually played this team in our last match, played away as well, 0-0 draw. But hopefully we've learned a few tricks here and there, and we can really take it to them today against Harrow. Scintillating first 10 minutes of highlights here. Oh, here we go. Lafleur with the throw-in to Joe Thomas. Back to Lafleur, who's going to get a header in. Hippolyte Patrick just fires it, or heads it rather, over the top of the net. Walsh didn't get a piece of it. It is still 0-0, heading into the middle part of the, 10-minute mark, so to speak. Looks like Harrowborough have control of the ball. Roisin Connolly ends up intercepting back to Danielle Walker, moved around the back line to Angela Dravid. Angela Dravid up to Tim Key. Tim Key fires the ball up. Looks like Hippolyte Patrick's going to get on it. Tries to put it in the front of the net, can't find anybody. And Joe Thomas puts it in. Roisin Connolly from literally point-blank range bounces it off the keeper. Makes a good save. LaFleur now with the corner on the attack. Frank Skinner gets a header on it, but it's directly to the keeper, Walsh, who hangs onto the ball and is the end of the highlight. So far, so good. It looks like we've produced some really good opportunities so far. Want to continue to do so. Just need to get a couple of those balls into the back of the net behind the Harrowborough goalkeeper. Oh, good. We've had the ball possession in most. Can't talk today. We've had most of the ball possession in this match. Unfortunately, we haven't done anything with it quite yet. Had a 0-0 draw last time. Might end up with a 0-0 draw today as we go into halftime. It is 0-0, Chesham and Borough. Looks like Harrowborough actually had a really good set of opportunities there towards the end of the half. Just really didn't capitalize on those. So I think we continue to work well. We can do well as a team. Roisin Connolly has been very much hit or miss during this save. So sometimes Roisin Connolly will go out and score a goal, score 2 goals, but then just throw in an absolute stinker in the subsequent game. And as soon as I start talking about Roisin Connolly, have the ball into the box, just hits it very weird. I'm not sure it was a cross or a shot, but ends up going off the post, ends up kicking back out and ends the highlight. But here we have another offensive opportunity. It appears Tim Key throws in the ball to Sophie Duker, gets the ball back to Frank Skinner. Angela Dravid over the top to Hippolyte Patrick, who's just going to fire the ball in the middle of the box, and Roisin Connolly scores. Just as soon as I start talking trash about Roisin Connolly, the goal ends up flying into the back of the net. Great ball by Frank Skinner to Frank Skinner back to Angela Dravid, who just chucks the ball forward. Hippolyte Patrick with some great speed there on the right-hand side just gets this ball into the box, and Roisin Connolly just has to tap the ball into the back of the net, and just like that, it is 1-0. Says the replay might have been a tight offsides. Ooh, boy, that's pretty close, to be fair. Does not look like it was called, and we're still going to take the 1-0 lead here heading into the 55th minute. Looks like we get another opportunity. Sophie Duker is going to take a free kick. Tries to find Hippolyte Patrick, but gets headed outside of the box. Back into Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas is just going to curl in and fires it directly at Walsh, the keeper. Probably should have done a little bit better there in order to reach the back of the net, but unfortunately, fires directly at the keeper, keeping it 1-0 so far. Players starting to get a little bit tired here, might start making in some substitutions. I'd really like a 2-goal lead in order to do that. Roisin Connolly is going to chuck it up to Sophie Duker, I believe was very offsides. Gets the ball into the back of the net, but it has been disallowed. So, still 1-0 heading into the 65th minute here. Looks like I may go through and make a couple of substitutions. I'll wait for this highlight to end. Looks like Ramesh Ranganathan takes that very easily and very cleanly. Need to get our players back, take some time, get them upfield. Ramesh Ranganathan just boots the ball forward. Roisin Connolly then heads the ball to Sophie Duker. Duker looking to pass up, can't find anybody. Tim Key now gets the ball to the box, and Roisin Connolly, that is a beautiful goal. That is a beautiful goal and a beautiful assist by Tim Key. Tim Key just chucks this ball into the box. Roisin Connolly just manages to get a header on it. Sophie Duker creating some space here. Gets the ball back to Tim Key. Doesn't even take control of the ball, just a one-touch cross into the box, and Roisin Connolly does what Roisin Connolly does and heads the ball into the back of the net, and just like that, it is 2-0. We're heading into the 70th minute here. I'm going to go ahead and make some substitutions. I'm not saying that this game is won already, but it would certainly be nice to make some substitutions. I'd love to take Sophie Duker off, but unfortunately we do not have any players that can replace Sophie Duker at the moment. So it looks like Hippolyte Patrick is going to get replaced here. I'd like to take off one of the defenders here as well. I think we're going to take off LaFleur and put in Connors. And if we need to make another substitution, we can a little bit later on. But let's go ahead and make those substitutions. Let's go ahead and try to drown out some clock as well. So we'll do just a little bit of time wasting to make sure that we end up with the victory for today. Fairly dominant performance, both in possession and opportunities. And Sophie Duker looks like it's struggling and wants to be substituted. I don't have any substitutions. Joe Thomas has taken a knock. Do I have anybody that can go on for Joe Thomas? I don't think I do. Let's see here. Joe Thomas, substitution, nope. What I will do, though, is I'll take Roisin Connolly, put Roisin Connolly on the left wing, and I will take, is that Ian? Owen Casey. Got to learn my names here. I'm going to confirm those changes, and hopefully that will see us out to the end of the game here. And it looks like it has. We will take a 2-0 victory over Harrowborough. That moves us into the fourth qualifying round of the FA Cup. Very excited for that. We could definitely use some money. Nice work, everyone. Very, very well done. And we'll take that victory for sure. So that puts us into the hat for the next round of the FA Cup. Joe Thomas was injured. Oh, gosh, we do not need any injuries. This squad is as light as you could possibly get it. Post-match press conference is about to begin. We get 5.62K for that. That's nice, because that's going to definitely help out the finances. I'll tell you what, some of these cup runs have been really, really helpful. These cup games, rather, have been very, very helpful towards the overall balance here. Unfortunately, we're still a little bit overspending on our wage budget, but I will let you know if we end up getting our central midfielder and what name in the game we are going to give that particular central midfielder here in just a moment. Once that's done, I'll bring you back for Swindon Supermarine. A couple of quick changes for our game against Swindon Supermarine. We are going to keep Ramesh Ranganathan in goal. We are going to start with the back four of Connors, Chris Ramsey, Angela Dravid, and Tim Key. Edwards and Frank Skinner in the midfield. Attacking midfield, Hippolyte Patrick on the left-hand side, Sophie Duker and Josh Whitcomb on the right side, and again, Roisin Connolly on top. As we see here, we've got some fixture congestion, and that's resulting in some of the conditions of some of the players to be a little bit lower than what I would expect. This goes back to the fact that we simply do not have the money to be able to pay for enough players to be able to substitute these in. We're trying to get a couple of individuals in, but we're going to do the absolute best that we can with what we've got. Unfortunately, the fixture congestion is leaving us a little bit to be desired here in the conditions of these players. So we're going to go ahead and submit the team. Very well aware that some of my players are not fully fit and lacking match sharpness, but we're just going to have to go with it and do the absolute best that we can with the patchwork team that we have for today. If we carry on this last performance, we should do well. I wholeheartedly agree. If we keep them from scoring and score more goals than our opponent, we will win the game. That's from the John Madden school of commentary right there. If you score more goals than your opponent, you're probably going to win the game. Oh, Sam Campbell. No, probably not that Sam Campbell. But looks like Swindon here are going to be on the attack for the first part of this game. Take their time and manage it around the back. In all honesty, like I said, the cup run's been really good. We actually I believe we drew Hereford, which is a team in the Vanarama National North or South. Honestly, cannot remember who we drew for the fourth round, but I know it's going to be a tough fixture. But regardless, making it to the fourth round has actually given us quite a bit of cash that will hopefully help sustain us through maybe some of the years where we don't necessarily have that type of cash. Had a good opportunity to start off the game there. Unfortunately, could not connect, or at the very least, the connection was with the post and we didn't score. Looks like Swindon had a corner here, but looks like we're back on the attack. Angela Dravid to Hippolyte Patrick. Dravid back to Connors. Unfortunately, Connors didn't do anything with it. Swindon Supermarine. Gotta remember, I don't want to say Swindon Supermare. Maybe it's Western Supermare that I'm getting that confused with. Great cross into the box there. Unfortunately, just headed over the top of the net, or fortunately, depending upon whether you're looking at it from my perspective. Still 0-0 heading into the 25th minute. Not a lot of action going on so far. We've been very limited in our amount of possession so far. It's a little bit alarming considering the last game we dominated possession and ended up with some great opportunities. We haven't been super great at dominating possession so far in this save. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I've noticed that when I do Football Manager saves, I tend to not dominate possession. That's perfectly fine. And just on cue, Roisin Connolly fires it home. It is 1-0 Chesham over Swindon Supermarine. Absolutely fantastic goal here. Roisin Connolly works the ball back to Connors. Connors to Chris Ramsey to Frank Skinner. Roisin Connolly just beelines it, cuts face perfectly in front of the defender, gets the ball and fires it home, giving us the 1-0 lead in the 34th minute of the game. So this looks like Frank Skinner is giving about all he can. Well, he's going to have to give another 45 minutes at least before I create a substitution, because I have no midfield substitutions whatsoever. If we get a 2-goal lead here, I'm pretty confident I can make some substitutions and really give ourselves an opportunity to maybe rest some of these players for the second half of the game, provided that they will be needed in future games here. So it looks like we have the ball back. Chris Ramsey to Connors. Connors to Hippolyte Patrick. It's intercepted by Tumulty, the Swindon Supermarine player. Chris Ramsey needs to play it back to Ramesh Ranganathan, who just fires it into a bunch of Swindon Supermarine players. There's no way he was onside. No way. That's what I thought. We're going to halftime with this 1-0 lead. So Not necessarily a bad thing. Dressing room, I think we can take this up another notch. I think if we can get another goal here, we can get some substitutions in. I really, really, really want us to take this to Swindon Supermarine for today. Still have some tired players on the pitch. We're going to try to get some substitutions in maybe here around the 60th minute mark. But I can honestly say I'm quite pleased with the way that the team's been playing so far, despite being very fatigued, very tired. They've done a really good job of controlling the game. Possession's kind of gone up a little bit, which is absolutely fantastic. We've had more clear-cut opportunities, it seems. So I'm going to go ahead and pause. We've got, looks like we went a little bit further than what I needed to. We're at the 70th minute here. We're going to make some substitutions. Let's see who we can get on, period. Full stop, right? Let's go ahead and let's move Roisin Connolly down to here. That will work. And then I'm going to replace Josh Whitcomb here with Owen Casey. And I can't do anything about my midfielders. Oh, I hate that. That is something I'm going to need to work on. We'll put Danielle Walker in and Tim Key. Don't really have a replacement for. I'd say Chris Ramsey, but I don't think I have another defender. No, this is really all I can do, which is it's kind of sad. I can replace Roisin Connolly in time. Maybe Hippolyte Patrick. And that's 3 substitutions. That's all I'm allowed to make. So hopefully nobody gets injured and we end up having to finish the game with 10 men. But we'll do the absolute best that we can here. It looks like Swindon Supermarine are going to have a throw-in. Seems like we can't get to the ball here. We're playing a little bit more defensive. What I would like. Oh, that's a big turnover. And Owen Casey really needs to finish there. Fires that ball off the post. That is a good defensive interception, unfortunately, or offensive interception rather. Just could not connect with the back of the net. And it makes you wonder if somebody like Roisin Connolly, if I kept Roisin Connolly at striker, if that goes in the back of the net and gives us that 2-0 lead. Hindsight's always 20/20, isn't it? Danielle Walker with the ball now, moves it over to Tim Key. Tim Key to Roisin Connolly, who's now playing on the right-hand side of our midfield to Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner's got to be exhausted. Moves it to Danielle Walker. Danielle Walker tries to get the ball into Casey. Can't quite connect. Rebound opportunity ends up being fired over the top of the net. It is still a 1-0 to Chesham with about 7 minutes left in the game. Yeah, despite our woes in front of the goal, we are somehow leading. I'm not going to complain about that, but what I am going to do is I'm going to increase our time wasting because I want this game to be done. I want it to be over with, and then hopefully the next couple of days we can get another midfielder signing in and start resting some of these midfield players because they have to be absolutely gassed after how much we've been playing in the last couple games. You walk away with a 1-0 victory. Absolutely superb from our team here, really shutting down Swindon Supermarine offensively, and best performer Roisin Connolly yet again guiding this team to victory. Nice work, everyone. That was good. We've got a game coming up here soon. Don't think we're able to rest at all. We've got 4 games. We're going to play Hitchintown. I probably won't bring you back for that, but I will probably bring you for something somewhere down here. Maybe sometime in November, we'll get a handful of games played here in October, and I'll bring you back here in November, which is the month of my birth. Super excited about that. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe for more exciting Taskmaster FC content. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you wish, and we will see you very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.